Welcome back to Cottage Farmstead. I'm Rebecca, this is my husband Nathan, and almost exactly 2 years ago on this spot we were dowsing for water.
Pretty strong in that direction.
So you can see it's pulling to the right, so he's going to turn around, and it's taking us right back to where we found the water before. So we're in a pretty certain that this is a good spot for drilling a well. See, they crossed right again.
Right over the same spot. And essentially dowsing is taking some sort of reactive metal. In this case we used copper rods that had a bend in it, just to see if it reacted to water veins that are down in the earth.
So we've had a lot of comments on that previous video asking for a follow-up, wondering if we hit water, what the flow rate is. So we are here today to tell you about our well and if our dowsing rods were correct or not. So the actual day of the well dig was a work day. So Farmer Nathan and I could not be there for the whole process. Nathan was there in the morning to show them where we wanted to dig the well, which was the site where we doused. And then he was there in the evening to see the work that they had finished. Most of the communication was done over the phone, how deep, have you hit water, but otherwise we were not there that day to film.
We indeed hit water, which I guess talking to some neighbors is a good thing. It was much deeper than we were anticipating though. They hit water, I think it was at about 200 feet, kept on drilling because the flow rate was not what was anticipated. And we ended up with a 525 foot deep well, which is pretty deep with 300 feet of granite.
Yeah, so the granite was what we were not expecting at all. There's a well down over by the shack, and we think that one's maybe 40-50 feet deep. It's pretty shallow, so we were not expecting to have to dig that deep to hit water here.
You may wonder if we have King Tut buried in this sarcophagus.
But this is actually our wellhead. So we had to put insulation around it back in December because we had below freezing temperatures for a couple days. And we did have one of our water lines in the well house freeze. So Nathan and my dad rigged up this sarcophagus. It's foam board and there's insulation on the inside, so it's covering our wellhead. We do plan on building a prettier cover for our well eventually, but that is not one of our priorities right now. So we did hit water. It is underneath here. I'll insert a picture of what the wellhead looks like, as I do have pictures before we covered it up this way.
But guess what? We did hit water on that very spot that those rods ended up crossing, showing that there was something there. So at least that inkling was accurate, because we had talked with different people who have had to drill, 3-4 times before they hit anything. And that's going down pretty deep in their cases as well.
So there is something to dowsing. We can't say it's necessarily measures accurately on the depth or flow rate. Do you remember the flow rate of our well? Or what they estimated it to be?
So the refresh rate is about 5 gallons per minute, which is definitely lighter than what it was anticipated to be. I think it was...
We're expecting 10 to 12.
So, but still enough for the house. We can't do overly large quantities of irrigation for crops. We definitely won't be irrigating our hay fields, which not many people do down here anyways. But it is definitely enough for the homestead, especially if we collect rainwater for added reserves of water for the gardens and for the animals.
So behind us here is a shed, but it's also serves as our well house. And so in there we have our filtration system, our UV light, the sediment filters, our pressure tank. All of that is inside of that house, and I will link below and above to the video where we walk through step by step of when we were installing our filtration system. We left off on Thursday was we were getting it hooked up to the conditioner and the filter. And so that we have the fine particle filter, and then what comes out of there, it goes over to a UV light filter. Well, we hope this short video answered some of your questions on if we hit water and what the flow rate was and if it is sufficient to our needs. And we're happy to report it is totally sufficient for our needs. We've been growing a beautiful garden this year. Our cows have plenty of water, our chickens have plenty of water. So it is definitely serving its purpose, even though we had to dig a whole lot deeper than we expected.
And it tastes so good. It's fresh, it's healthy. We do water tests from time to time. I think we're due to do another one just to monitor what is coming up in the water, as there's always a chance of contamination, but our filtration system is a good defense, and just make sure that we have healthy water for ourselves.
And with that, we'll catch you next time.